Okay, so I actually don't know if I can actually get this out. What I want to say. But I'm putting on the camera and it's an experiment. It's a challenge. Let's see if we can. Um, this is the fourth time I said I was going to bed. I did a stretch, and I had an epiphany again. And that epiphany was basically when your chakras are clear. So we're talking like the spot, like the energy that moves through the spine, right? You can get a concept, call it, like, I'll give an example of a concept. An example of a concept might be, oh, when I stretch, I feel pain up in my temple. That's a concept or an idea, a thought. Let's call it a thought. That makes more sense. So you get a thought when your spine channel is fluid and the energy through in it is like going up and through every single dimension slash chakra, whatever you want to call it. That is when that thought brings what we would call an epiphany, or the feeling of an epiphany, of an understanding of the thought. It starts off as an observation in the lower dimensions, so like everything below the solar plexus chakra slash dimension. And if it can move through the solar plexus and go through the heart and up, that is when we're like, oh, I understand what I'm thinking about in like this much more expansiveness. Like I see it in a bigger picture. I finally understand how I can do this. I finally understand how I can like tackle this. So an example of that would be as well, like formulate the thought that you have down here as like a question. It starts off as a question. I have a pain in my head. That's the thought. Okay, how can I get rid of this? Dang, bro. The energy. But basically, when it comes up, as it goes through those dimensions and it goes through those chakras, that is when you get the answer to that question. Now I don't know what particular dimension and what chakra it actually like hits. I think they all play a role in it, in like giving this, getting you to the explanation, getting you this information. But basically once it goes through and up and out, you're like, oh, I understand that this pain in my head is, I mean, I'll just speak from my own experience. Like the answer to my own question is going to be different for each and everybody's question. But it was like, I have an understanding now that I can just move through this pain if I stop ignoring it. And what was interesting is, this is another epiphany that I kind of had in this situation, is that I figured out that ignoring can also be what we might think of as observation. So that's really, it's really interesting. So so say you have a pain in your body, right? And we're getting down to business. I'm sitting down. Basically, that pain you just kind of quietly observe. You almost like watch it, feel it. You don't do anything to it. You don't take any action on it, and you just observe the feeling where it is at its place. And I used to do this a lot because this is honestly, when it comes to physical discomfort, this is how I function and function through it. And I just am like, I know it will pass. I'm going to wait until it passes, basically. And instead of like reacting and putting my brain through like the pain cycle that it goes through, and the pain cycle, if definitely read up on it because I might be wrong when I say this. I'm just going off of memory. But I remember something along the lines of like, once you perceive pain, your brain goes through kind of like a fear response, but then it triggers like more pain to manifest because you're trying to take it away. You know what I mean? Get rid of it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a reaction based mental. It's a mental reaction. And so I've actually tried to train my brain to not mentally react to it, so it doesn't make more pain or more inflammation, which causes more pain. All right, so anyway, now that that's all laid out, basically, in that moment, when I had my everything go through my chakras, I saw that me being in peaceful observation was in a way ignoring it because I wasn't reacting to it, and in a way that is like what I wanted, but I also wasn't taking action on it to get it to move, to like not have it be there anymore, for lack of a better word. And I was like, oh wait, I don't have to just observe it. I don't have to just like let this happen. I can go through it. And I know that sounds like really weird. Like, what are we talking about? And to a point, I don't even know how to get you there to that explanation. That's a different dimension that we're working on, different dimensional perspectives here. But basically, how it looks in my head is like my consciousness, my awareness will acknowledge the pain in the head and go through it. All I can say. That's how I can describe it. And while I was going through the pain in my head, because the energy was still moving up through my chakras, I was still gaining more and more expansive awareness, or bigger picture thinking and perspective of each mental thought that I was having in my head. As I went through it, I was like, wait, going through your pain, this is like, you might not resonate with this because this is like something I've only heard, this is the way that I think of this particular thing. I've only heard myself think of this way. Okay, my throat is, we're getting mumble jumbled, so let's wrap this up. Okay, so basically it was like going through a portal of sorts, and I just basically decided to find the reality or the experience within this portal of like one experience here, one experience here, one experience here, one experience here. It's like going through that tube of set experiences, almost like a timeline, really, but it wasn't time, it was more reality, I guess, which is kind of the same thing, but we're not going to get into that. But basically, I chose the reality where I wasn't experiencing pain, and it stopped. And it was weird. And people who know me in person like know this about me. Like, I swear I have a lot of natural THC. I don't know if there's a chemical like a real chemical in the brain that is like THC but isn't THC. I don't know the name for it, is basically what I'm saying. And yeah, I got a lot of that in me, and particularly in the morning. But yeah, so I saw all this happen. And the biggest takeaway that I, really wanted to share is that when your spine's clear, that's when you get all of these epiphanies. And I think I've been aware of this for quite a while, but I'm just putting words to awareness now. So in a way, my awareness expanded on my already set awareness. All right, that's it. Goodbye. Thank you for listening.